I don't know what this means. Make sure that everything's looking okay. Let me get this refreshed. See if we're on, if we've got a good picture. See if we've got volume, as that always seems to be a problem. Let's see here. As that always seems to be a problem. All right, woohoo! Yay, we got things rolling tonight. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Tara with Tarabeth Stamps. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Mid-Missouri. If you're on tonight, give me a shout out. Let me know you're watching. Hey, Mary. Hey, TV. Hey, Mary. Hey, Rosie. How's it going, guys? So tonight's card, we are going to do a faux sidestep using the beautiful Galleries Designer Series paper. We're using a little bit of the banner sayings. So that is a November online exclusive. And then a little bit of the gallery blooms. So this is our card, just a faux sidestep. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. So remember tonight, if you're on watching, make sure you give me a shout out so I know you're watching here. So this is one of the 5 cards that is going to be included in this week's free card kit. This week I'm using the Galleries in Bloom and Beautiful Motifs sets. Yes, Mary, this is one of my favorite fun folds as well. You and I seem to be eye to eye on our fun folds and the things that we like. So as I said, this is a faux sidestep, and we're just going to use some of that stuff from the annual catalog, bringing it back. Oh, thank you, Carol. I'm glad you like it. Thanks, Rosie. So we're going to get started. I am going to do a couple of announcements. Just remember the January to April mini catalog goes live January the 6th. So I've got my product share where you get that 6x6 designer series paper sampling. You get 2 sheets of every one. I believe it's of all the collections. If it's a larger collection, sometimes you only get 1, but you get about a quarter of a pack with everything. Then you get a 1/5 of the ribbon and a 1/5 of the embellishments. You can add on the 2-tone cardstock if you want to give that a whirl. But it's a really great way of getting a little sampling of everything that's in that mini catalog, as well as some of the online exclusives, so that you get a sampling and know what you want before you invest. Also, the September to December mini catalog is on its way out, so make sure you check that last chance session so that you can grab up any of those things that might be on their way out before they are out. All right, so let's get started. So I've got a piece of Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to bring out my scoreboard. I love to use the Simply Score tool anytime I'm doing a fun fold, just because while our paper trimmer is fantastic and does wonderful scoring, I think the scoreboard is perfect for making sure that everything is nice and even and straight the way you want it to be. As well, it gives it a little bit of a deeper burnish, or a deeper groove, so that you can make that burnish really strong in that way. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. So that you get that really deep crease. So I'm going to score this at 3, and at 6, and at 7 1/4. So this is our card base, and I'm just going to go right back over those score lines. And then I have a smaller piece that we're going to score at 4 1/4. And this is what creates that faux sidestep for us. So that's all you'll need that score tool for. Set that out of the way. Hopefully set it somewhere where it doesn't fall and make a loud noise. Okay, so that first piece, we're just going to fold this back and give that nice deep burnish. So then we're going to, so now this is your front and this is the back. So you could always fold it at the back line. Give that nice deep burnish. And then I'm going to open it up and I'm going to fold this back. So I flipped it and folded it because this is going to be the step. And there it goes. So you end up basically with a mountain, a valley, and a mountain when you're folding that card. So that's our card base, and then that's the piece that goes on top of it. So as I showed you before, let me pull this out here. I'll go ahead and leave that card up there so you can see it. So this is what we have to do for the card base. So I have a basic gray, and this is cut with basic gray two-tone cardstock. And what I did, I used, I believe, the fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth largest right here. Yeah, I used the fourth largest die in the Everyday Arches die collection, and I die cut that. And then I used the fifth largest and cut my designer series paper. And I liked that little bit of gray because I feel like it makes that green pop. So let me go ahead and put those away. And we'll do a little just adhering first. I'm going to use seal on this. I prefer using seal when I'm putting my cards together. You'll hear pros and cons. So I'm just making sure I'm lining this up so that it's pretty even. Lots of people like liquid adhesive over seal because they need that wiggle room. I feel like you have wiggle room with seal as well, as long as you pull it up before you press it down. So here's another piece of that beautiful gallery designer series paper. I'm just kind of lining it up before I adhere it. So there we go. Now I have cut the bottom off of one of the seams in the designer series paper, and we're going to set that on the back. Thanks for giving me that plug, Rosie. Yes, if you are not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave so that you'll get notifications when I'm doing my live once a week. All right, so there's that. Now, what I'm going to do is I cut a small, tiny snippet of designer series paper because you see just a little bit of that background, but I didn't want to waste any of that beautiful designer series paper. So I just cut a small snippet, and we're going to add that to the top. So this is just another way to make your supplies go a little bit further. You don't always have to have everything all the way. And then we're going to add that on there. But let's go ahead and add this to the card base. So it's imperative that when you do this, you do not add the back. The basic white's going to go to the back. So we want to make sure that we do this first. Now, I'm going to look at my photo. So I have my step over on the right-hand side with the flowers facing in. So I'm doing the same thing here. Oh, thank you, Carol. Yes, Mary, I love these colors. This green, this light sage green, chef's kiss. I absolutely love that color. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make sure that my flowers, so now if my flowers were going this direction, I think I would put it over on this side. But because they're still kind of facing up, I want to do that. So I'm going to set this over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that faux side step, and I've got my seal right there, and I'm going to line it up down here, and I want to make sure it's flush all the way along that bottom step. And now I'm going to seal it down. Okay, we can flip it over and add one little bit of seal, and that will add it to the back. So this is what you have to do that faux side step. Hey, Angie, thanks for joining. So make sure you have that faux side step. This is how you do the card base. So it doesn't matter what designer series paper you use and what images you use. That's the basic construction on that faux side step. Now, because I want to be a little extra on this, I'm going to go ahead and add Stampin Dimensionals to the back of this. I want it to just pop up just a little bit. So I'm going to add 5 dimensionals here. So I've got like a box and then one right smack dab in the center. All right, we're going to turn this over. I'm going to pull it up just a little bit, but I don't want to be too much because it's going to be, this is going to measure 4 1/4. And so we don't want it to be too far up because then it's not going to, oh, Angie, you're never late. You're never late. Thank you for joining. So you don't want it to exceed this by too much because then it's not going to fit in that envelope the way we want it to. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. So there's the pop-up. We've got just a little bit of dimension going there. And now let's do some stamping. So what I have is this banner saying, now I'm not going to lie to you, this punch is unavailable right now. Make sure that you put your email address in because this punch you absolutely have to have. It is, I think I use it on almost every card that I make these days. All right, so I'm going to pull out my Mossy Meadow ink once I can find it. Here it is. And I'm going to ink up that happy birthday from the banner saying collection. And I put it right there. Okay. Let's go ahead and shut that so I don't have an inktastrophie. Now I want my banner, if you'll notice, I want my flag on that end. So we're going to go this direction here. And I'm going to have to add a Post-it note. My paper's too small. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So here's my banner. Okay. Now when I'm using a punch, I like to kind of lock it into place and then look at it. And I feel like I want it down just a little bit more. Okay. Making sure that I keep it even. Give it a nice little punch. And now I've got an extra flag that's longer for later. Okay. Now I'm going to take, there it is. I've got my linen thread here. And I'm not using a whole bunch of it. I'm just going to put a little bit of seal on the back of here. And then when I use my linen thread, I pull it out and I kind of just run it through my fingers a couple of times because I don't want it to curl unless I want it to. So sometimes it's a little too curly. So there's one loop. So we'll go that direction and seal it down. And then we're going to pull this back and create another loop. So just a little figure 8 is what we're using. And it doesn't matter if you touch the seal and it becomes non-tacky because we're going to add that in with a dimensional. All right. So let's put our linen thread up so we'll know where to find it next time. And now let's pull out a couple of more dimensionals. So I'm going to put one at one end. And then one down here at the other. All right, so this is ready to put on the front. So I'm going to line it up. I feel like I'm going to put it down a little bit so you can see those pretty flowers. There we go. All right, so there's that. Now, let's flip it over and do that inside panel. Yes, Karen, I agree. This designer series paper is, and I feel like we oftentimes forget about that stuff in the annual catalog because we get so obsessed with the mini catalogs. And while the mini catalogs are fantastic and the online exclusives are fantastic, we can't forget our old standbys. So yes. All right. Just gonna put this down here so I don't ink up my paper and I can use it again. Okay, so somewhere I have this big floral image, from the Galleries in Bloom. So the Galleries in Bloom is just a couple of floral images. And these you can mix and match and mix and match and create such pretty cards. So I've played with that collection all weekend long. Because it is a larger stamp, I'm going to do ink to stamp. Just because it is a little bit big. We're going to flip this around and we're going to stamp our flower. Maybe I'll turn this way. We're going to turn our flower right there. Perfect. All right. Last, before we adhere this down, we've got one little sentiment from that banner saying, cue the confetti, perfect for that elegant birthday card. Right there. So now we're going to wave this around a little bit because that is Mossy Meadow, so it may take a minute to dry. We don't want to smudge it. All right. We'll add some seal here and add this to the back of the card. There we go. Now, I think the last thing we need to do is the embellishments, and these Pearl of Beauty, yeah, Pearl of Beauty are so pretty. And I feel like you can use any of them. I really like the white or the basic or crumb cake ones with this. We're going to do crumb cake on this one. So I'm just going to do one of those and one of those. And then we'll do that pop of Calypso coral down here. Whoops. There we go. And there's today's card, a faux sidestep. Let's do our envelope. I used the Seasons of Elegance for that back flap. Let's go ahead and add a flower since we've got time. Let's go ahead and put a flower down in this corner. So once again, we are going to do ink to stamp instead of stamp to ink. Now remember, you can get this as a free kit this week with a $50 qualifying purchase. This and 4 other card sets, card kits as a thank you to you. Product share sign up is going on now. I'm going to get invoicing out soon, probably next week. Let's see here. Today is the 12th. Yep, no problem with Thursday nights Facebook Live. We should be able to do that, no problem. And make sure you sign up for my newsletter so you get the newest announcements that are coming out. January's got a lot of new stuff, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for joining me on your Sunday night. I appreciate your support. I hope you liked today's card, a faux sidestep using that beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper. Have an amazing week. No worries, no worries. Amy, you guys have a great week. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you here next week at YouTube for another live tutorial.